everybody, and welcome back to The Good Life. And the good life to me is time spent in the kitchen, especially with those I love. So today we have a special home chef guest. This is Dad.
Buongiorno.
And he is otherwise known as Uncle Archie for some people out in the Pennsylvania world. So we have a special recipe that we're going to be teaching today. And it's something that I've made a few times in the past, and I think, Dad, you've never made cannoli.
Not homemade, no.
Not homemade cannoli.
No.
So we're going to be teaching you how to make the pastry part of the cannoli. We're going to be deep frying it, and then we'll show you how to make the ricotta filling with chocolate chips and orange limoncello, and serve it for our dinner tonight, which I always love to do. And then first, of course, we have to taste it in front of you. So we're going to get started with the dry ingredients. Okay, first thing we're going to do is take our sifter and we're going to put it in a medium-sized bowl. And what is first? We are halving this recipe, so Dad's going to say what the full amount's going to be, and I'm going to half it for what we're making for the three of us tonight.
Good. Okay, for the dough, 1 1/2 cups all-purpose flour.
So right now we have 3/4 cup of flour,
1 tablespoon of sugar,
half a tablespoon,
1 teaspoon unsweetened cocoa powder,
we got Hershey's cocoa powder,
and the last of the dry ingredients, 1/2 teaspoon ground cinnamon.
So you want to get really good ground cinnamon, and what I did is I took a cinnamon stick and I grated it with a microplane. You can do it with a box grater, but it's pretty finely. I took out all the larger chunks. So we are going to put this in our sifter, and I'm just working it back and forth. That's the easiest way to quickly sift something and it doesn't fly all over the place. So the next thing we want to do is we're going to put this into our food processor, and Dad is going to cube 1 tablespoon of cold butter that we're going to pulse into the food processor.
Done!
Go for it. Okay.
Good.
Perfectly grainy feeling, and it is the cornmeal texture that you're looking for. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to put this back into our bowl. Hold that, please. Get that out of the way. And how much limoncello are we looking for?
8 tablespoons limoncello or other lemon or orange liqueur.
So what we end up doing, we got orange limoncello. So that's sort of like the best of both worlds. So what you want to do is you're going to drizzle it over your cornmeal dry ingredients. And I am going to take my trusty glove.
Limoncello is a Naples after dinner drink.
Yes. I've made limoncello before.
Oh yes.
It's basically just lemon peel without the white pithy part and vodka and sugar. And it's wonderful, homemade, as well as just straight from the bottle at the liquor store.
Not expensive either.
Exactly. Alrighty. So, let me get up close and personal with you guys. This is what we're looking for. It's just barely worked in. It's moist, but it still keeps its form as the ball. And now we're going to wrap this in saran wrap, and Dad's going to put it in the refrigerator, and we're going to let it sit in the refrigerator for an hour. Okay, so now we're going to move on to part 2, and that's making the ricotta filling that we're going to fill the cannoli shells with. So first thing we're going to do, if you can read the ingredients, Dad.
2 cups of fresh ricotta cheese, drained. Now you've already done that, you might explain that.
I have a strainer, a sieve, that I have a sheet. I've actually cut about the folded up sheet of cheesecloth. So I think there are about 4 layers in here. And then in that, I put the ricotta cheese. So it has been draining for about an hour, and it drained about a tablespoon of liquid from the bottom. Next.
Okay, 3/4 cups of sugar.
So I took a 3/4 cup dry measuring cup, and I just eyeballed half of that.
1/3 cup of miniature chocolate chips.
A half of 1/3 cup plus a little bit because they're chocolate chips.
And then finely grated zest of 2 oranges.
So what I'm going to do, I want to do a close-up on this so you can see exactly how. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to zest the orange. What you're looking for is the outer orange part of the skin, but you don't want the white part. You just want one stroke of the orange onto your zester. And then as you do this, you're going to rotate. Just kind of look at it every once in a while and see how you're doing. So you don't have to be perfect, and I wouldn't worry about it if you get a little bit of the white in there. The white just makes it a little bit more bitter. But do what you can. I put it over a little bit of parchment paper. You can use wax paper, but it just makes it easier to pick it up when you're done with it. Got
I'm going
it?
to spoon this mixture into the pastry bag.
So we are going to put it into a Ziploc bag because that's what every kitchen would have, as opposed to counting on having a pastry bag or purchasing a specialty item like that.
On the Ziploc, what we've learned to do is to open it, fold the top couple of inches. What this does is keep the Ziploc seal nice and clean. Also, in the smaller size, it's almost like having a pan. You can scoop right to it.
So we are going to put this in here and refrigerate it for 45 minutes to an hour.
Now you see the spatter here, when you flip that up, it doesn't interfere with the bag.
Thank you very much. Move on to step 3. That's working with the dough. So for this step, I want to move up close with the camera so you can zoom in and see. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off taking the dough that we've been refrigerating for the last hour, and we are going to cut it into fourths. And then we're just going to keep the 3 pieces that we're not working with in the saran wrap. So now what we'll do is flour the surface, and we're going to roll it out into about 1/8 of an inch thickness. Okay, I actually realized after I started rolling this dough out that we have the recipe, so I took one of the extra quarters that we had put aside, one of the extra quarters of the dough, and I combined it and I started re-rolling. So now we have our dough that's actually a little bit thinner than 1/8 of an inch, which is really perfect because it'll puff up when it deep fries. What you want to do is take your round, your cutter, put it in a little bit of flour to make it stick free, and just go through and cut your circles as tightly as possible because you don't want to waste too much dough. Do a couple at a time before you re-dip your cookie cutter into your dough or flour.
Don't forget to tell everybody who gave you the recipe.
Absolutely. Mario Battelli, I'd like to say personally gave it to me, but we found Mario Battelli's recipe on epicurious.com, my favorite recipe website. So we want to make sure that we credit Mario for this wonderful recipe that we will be enjoying later on, and hopefully you'll be enjoying one day in the future. Okay, so just to demonstrate what we're doing here, you may see that it's a little bit more elongated than a round. What I did is I rolled it out a little bit more after I made the rounds so that they'll be able to overlap and come together, because you want to overlap these before you put them in the deep fryer. So what we're going to do, wipe the short end with a little bit of egg wash. Take your cannoli ring or tube, wrap it around. You can press a little bit on the dry end and then touch the wet end just so it overlaps a little bit. I'm going to do the rest of these and then we're going to show you the deep frying process. Alright, step 4. We're going to start deep frying the cannoli. We have them all wrapped, ready to go. So Dad's going to put them in the oil and we're going to cook them for about 30 seconds to a minute at 375 degrees. So you have to watch them carefully. Flip them over while they're cooking because they're going to get brown pretty quickly. You can see they're already turning a nice golden brown. Woo! Batch number 1's coming out. And then we're putting them aside on a paper towel lined plate. Just to give you a little tip when you're deep frying, you always want to have a lid by that fits the top of your deep fryer. In case you have any sort of accident in the kitchen, you want to be able to snuff it out before it gets to be any more dangerous than it already is.
Good idea.
Good suggestion, Dad. And that's Mom in the background making dinner. It's okay. Hi, Mom. Mom's making a guest appearance again.
Yeah, I think you got my legs about 2 minutes ago.
Okay, so now we're back, and we're going to show how you would take these cannoli shells off the tubes that we deep fried them in, and then we'll plate them and show you how you can serve them. So, Dad, if you can do the honors.
I shall do this.
I'm going to zoom in. So when you loosened them earlier, what did you do?
I just gripped them with my left hand and started twisting this until I could feel it give a little bit, and then I gave it a full turn and slipped it to my right as I pulled it out.
Perfect. Okay, now we're going to get to the fun part, which is filling the cannoli shells. So we have a couple shells that we're going to fill right now. And we have our filling that's in the Ziploc bag that we had earlier that we prepared. I'd already cut it. You can see it's cut to about a 1/2 inch size hole. Squeeze it a little bit tight. And then just start your filling. So you can see, just kind of start squeezing in until it barely shows through the other side. And then slowly pull out. There's one. Now the next one, we'll squeeze through. Now we have our second one. So for these mini cannolis, the perfect serving size are 2. So here we'll put one down for the plain serving. And now for the extra special one, for those who are chocoholics, and you know who you are. Looky there, that's a perfect bite. And now what we're going to do, put it on your plate, have your little twist of orange, because the orange flavor of the zest went in there, so you want to kind of garnish it with something that was actually part of your dish. And then you can take a couple pieces of mint and add a little bit here, and there you go. You have the perfect bite. But what makes it even more perfect is when Dad and I get to share it together. So I will be right back in about 2 seconds with my dad staying next to me. Okay, so now it's the best part of filming these videos is our tasting. So, which one you want?
You take the chocolate.
Okay! You can have the other one. So...
Fist bump.
Oh. Mmm. I mean, we got the orange zest with the chocolate and the ricotta cheese and everything in between. That's good stuff.
Buon appetito.
Buon appetito. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Is that okay?
Perfect. In every way.